If it's Friday, if it's 12 noon, it is the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. And today we're talking taxes. Not only because it's February and we are in tax season, but because that's what we do here on Fridays, here on live on Facebook. And by the way, if you miss the video live on Facebook, all of these videos go over to YouTube. And all of these videos also go over to LinkedIn. And the audio from all of these videos go to a podcast. So you can go back and check the archives and you go, yeah, I missed that one on small business taxes. Well, it's you can either find them right here on Facebook in the archives, or you can find them on YouTube or LinkedIn, or listen to them in a podcast. So let's get right to it. With us today, he is the tax manager for Jack Loteryman CPA PC. Welcome back, Adam Coen.
Glad to be here, Steve. Happy Friday.
Let's get into the business at hand. Not only am I a small business owner, a lot of my friends are small business owners, and this is a topic that I think is going to be of great interest to all of my friends and people out there in general who are small business or self-employed. And so today's topic, small business and self-employed tax considerations.
Well, what do you want to know?
All right, let's start about let's talk about the accounting process. I know, back prior to using computers, I used to keep my ledger. I used to have a large ledger book of expenses and
Did you really?
and income, and I'd be there with my mechanical pencil and write it in. Do I now, as a small business owner, do I need formalized accounting?
You do need formalized accounting, but perhaps not that formal.
Okay.
If you're writing it out by hand, well, maybe people like to do it that way, but it certainly doesn't help time-wise. Yeah, I mean, if you're a small business owner, some people say, well, I'll just keep things in Excel, and that works to an extent, and maybe there's a practical time frame when you can use that. But eventually, and especially as you grow, you've got to convert into something formalized that's following accounting theory. Otherwise, you're just doing yourself a disservice and you're doing your business a disservice.
Give me an example of what formalized accounting is.
Sure, that would be all of the big names you hear about, which would be QuickBooks or QuickBooks Online, or they have FreshBooks, these kind of things that are new competitors for QuickBooks. But the big one is QuickBooks, and that means you've got at its base, you've got a balance sheet that tracks your assets and your liabilities and your equity, and you've got an income statement that's tracking your expenses, your inflows and your outflows in terms of your expenditures. Those are the two main ones, but there of course are more. But if you have that core, then you really are able to do the kind of analysis that we do, where you figure out profitability of the company. Okay, major cash flows.
Okay, and I know that there are online checkbooks, but I would assume a checkbook would be a much simpler version of, and that keeps your profit and loss, but there's more to it than just how much are you taking in and how much you are spending.
Absolutely. How much have you invested in that company over the years that you've owned it? I mean, that's an important question. What kind of assets does this company own? Does it own real estate? Does it own vehicles? Your computers, your printers, desks, all those things that you want to keep track of. And there's the asset side of the equation, but then there's how much do you really owe to other people? And are you breaking out the interest that you're paying on those notes, or are you just recording it all as one lump sum payment, which doesn't really give you a true figure of what you're paying out?
And I would assume it's best to keep track of this on a daily or weekly basis if you're spending money or if you're taking money in, as opposed to trying to amass all these totals at once at the end of the year.
Exactly. Well, here's an example. I have a good friend who's a financial advisor. he's a money guy, but he's not an accounting guy. And I worked with him yesterday on his books because he only reconciles his accounts to his books once a year. And we had to go back 3 years to try to figure out a mistake in his accounting that happened because he only touches it once a year. So it's good to touch it at least a quarter every quarter, but ideally once a month you're reconciling when you get your bank statement.
All right. Let's talk about you've reached an age where you're starting to think about retirement.
Yep.
Or at least you've reached an age where you start about thinking about retirement. Can I set up a retirement account for my small business?
Absolutely. There's all kinds out there that are available. And the question is, okay, now I'm in a place where, like you say, I'm thinking about retirement, or, hey, I finally have the cash flow to support putting money into retirement. What the factor is going to be is the structure of your company, how many employees you have, if any, and then how much money are you wanting to put aside. There's a lot of variables out there, but the most common ones I see are the solo 401k and the SEP IRA. And those are great tools, and we recommend them to a lot of folks. You've got some where, the minimum threshold might be, $15,000 might be what you want to put in. Great. Those two tools will work for you. If you're the kind of person who wants to put away $250,000 a year, we can do that too. There are those tools available.
Now, just a year or so ago, the government was handing out these PPP loans for small businesses, and unfortunately, I was not the recipient of a PPP loan, but a lot of people here locally, a lot of my viewers were. And do you have to pay back? Do you have to pay tax on the forgiven PPP loans?
No, you don't. That's a good question. And in addition to getting the tax-free income, the interest that, even if you didn't pay it, but it was accrued, that interest is deductible to your business. Here's another reason to have formalized accounting. If you got the economic injury disaster loan, the EIDL loans, the grant portion was also not taxable. So if you paid tax on that last year, you need to go back and amend, maybe, depending upon how much money it was, but you probably overpaid if you paid tax on that. And those PPP loans, there are still a lot of them lingering out there because a lot of people did the second round. Second round is also not taxable once it's forgiven.
It's good advice. It's good advice. One final question that I have, again, as a small business owner, the difference between income tax and small business tax. It's something, I've been a small business owner for a couple of decades, and I still don't understand what small business tax is, or the business tax is. It seems like I'm being taxed twice. I'm being taxed on my income, but then there's also that little tax called business tax.
And I think I know what you're talking about, Steve. You're talking about the self-employment tax. Is that correct?
That's it.
Okay. So 15.3% of your net business income above $400 is going to be taxed for Social Security and Medicare. That's what you're paying. You're paying the employer portion and the employee portion. If you're W-2 person, your employer pays the other half of that, and you don't see it. It just gets deducted from your wages. But there's the progressive income tax, which goes up as your income goes up, and there's this sort of I hear it described as regressive self-employment tax, in that you may be a lower earner, but you're still going to pay a lot of self-employment tax as a self-employed person.
Aha. So I'm playing even though I'm a company of one, I am the employer paying the income tax, and I am the employee paying the self-employment tax.
That's exactly right. And then you're paying your income tax on top of it. Yeah.
Nice. Just another part of doing business.
It is. It's another part of doing business. But that's why you want formalized accounting. Figure out how to reduce that as much as possible.
If someone had more questions about small business, self-employment tax considerations, how can they reach out to Adam Coen?
Give me a call here at the office, 231-0666. Again, 231-0666, or find us online at dfwtaxteam.com.
Adam, always a pleasure, and again, you hit one of the one of my favorite topics when it comes to taxes, small business, and we'll do this again next Friday right here on Facebook. Adam, have a great weekend. Stay warm, and oh, by the way, Mardi Gras is coming up this Tuesday, so
oh yeah,
so get ready for that. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
You too.